When there are ambulances, the ambulance driver, they switch on their siren and nobody knows how urgent the emergency is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my RGB LED system is going to show if it's very urgent or not that big of an emergency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great idea. I'm curious, can you explain what your project does in simple words?
When I flip the slide switch 1, it shows the RGB LED shows a red color. When I flip the second switch instead of the first switch, the RGB LED shows a green color. When I switch on both of the switches, the RGB LED shows a blue color. When both are off, it shows the color white.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonpreneur podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Ishjot, a creative young innovator who has built an interactive electronic project. In this project, Ishjot demonstrates how two slide switches can control the color of an RGB LED through coding and circuit design. So it's a wonderful example of combining creativity, coding, and electronics to solve a fun challenge. So now let's welcome Ishjot. Can you please start by introducing yourself and tell us a little about your interests and hobbies?
My name is Ishjot. I'm 11 years old and I like to play video games.
Lovely. Thanks for sharing. Now, tell us what inspired you to create this RGB LED project?
When there are ambulances, the ambulance driver, they switch on their siren and nobody knows how urgent the emergency is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my RGB LED system is going to show if it's very urgent or not that big of an emergency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm curious, can you explain what your project does in simple words?
When I flip the slide switch 1, it shows the RGB LED shows a red color. When I flip the second switch instead of the first switch, the RGB LED shows a green color. When I switch on both of the switches, the RGB LED shows a blue color. When both are off, it shows the color white.
Nice explanation. So tell us, why did you choose to use an RGB LED instead of a regular LED?
An RGB LED can show many colors, not just one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's a great choice. And speaking of the components, what role does the Raspberry Pi Pico play in your project?
The Pi Pico is the brain. All the components are connected to the Pi Pico using the wires, and the Pi Pico tells the components what to do, and the code is stored in the Pi Pico.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that makes sense. And one important part of the circuit. Why is a resistor important in your circuit?
It protects the LED from breaking from too much electrical current.
Exactly. It keeps everything safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and while building, what was the most challenging part of building this project?
Connecting the components to the Pi Pico with the wires to the correct pins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be tricky. So tell us, how did you test your project to make sure it worked correctly?
I ran the project and made sure that there was no errors and that my project was working how I wanted it to work.
Mm-hmm. That's smart testing. And from this project, what new coding or electronic skills did you learn while creating this project?
I learned how to properly connect components to the correct pins on the Pi Pico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great learning. And if you could make it even better, if you could improve this project, what new features would you add?
I would add the OLED display. And the OLED display would show what color the RGB LED is glowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be an awesome upgrade. And when it finally worked, how did you feel when your project finally worked for the first time?
I felt happy and excited that it finally worked after so many tries.
Yeah, that must have been an amazing feeling. And looking ahead, like what kind of robotics or coding projects would you like to build next?
Currently, I'm learning about the LDR sensor, OLED display, sliding and rotating potentiometer, ultrasonic sensor, and IR sensor. I have not decided what I'm going to build next, but I'm going to use these components for my next project.
That sounds exciting. And like thinking about a real life, like how could this type of RGB LED system be used in real life?
This can be attached to an ambulance, and the driver can flip the switches. And if the LED glows white, it means that there is no patient in the ambulance. If it glows green, there is a patient in the ambulance and the patient needs to go to the hospital, but it's not an urgent emergency, not that big. If it glows red, that means that there's a patient that needs to go to the hospital immediately. If the RGB LED glows blue, the ambulance is on the way to pick up a patient.
Yeah, that's a great application. And from your experience, like what advice would you give to someone building their first Raspberry Pi Pico project?
Always run the code and make sure that there are no errors. Check your code line by line and make sure you indented correctly.
That's wonderful advice. And, one last technical question. Like how important is testing when working on electronics project?
It is very important. When you test, you can spot errors and then you can improve the code.
Absolutely. So testing makes all the difference. And finally, what was your most favorite part of presenting your project to everyone?
Showing my code and circuit because I wanted to show everybody my hard work.
That's wonderful to hear. And you did a fantastic job, really, Ishjot, and it's wonderful. And thank you for joining us today and sharing your impressive project with us. So you did a fantastic job explaining your circuit, the purpose of each component, and how your code controls the RGB LEDs using different switch combination. And we hope that this project inspires you to continue exploring new ideas and building even more innovative creations in the future. So until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep creating.
Okay, thank you.